This is a HeadGum podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Complete Guide to Everything, a podcast about everything. I am one of your hosts, Tom.
And I'm Tim.
Tim, how are you doing this week?
Bad.
Why are you doing bad?
I'm getting menaced by a squirrel at my house.
Oh, what? You don't live in a house. You live in an apartment.
Yeah, in my apartment.
I was going to say you're up on the second floor. How could this be possible? But squirrels are wily. They can get up to the second floor, no problem.
Tom, this squirrel is the most terrifying of all my adversaries throughout the years.
But why is that? What is he doing to you?
All right. Let me just set the scene a little bit.
Okay.
This squirrel is jet black.
Okay.
All black.
Yeah, there were a lot of, when I went to school in Maryland, there were a lot of black squirrels.
Yeah, but you don't see them much.
They're not in New York. That's why it was like a unique thing that was like, wait a minute, these squirrels aren't brown, they're black.
Yeah. And then also, it's got all like ruffly hair.
Like he just woke up?
Yeah.
All right.
But he's just so puffy.
Okay.
All right. And here's the thing.
Like the Joker of squirrels.
Yeah, he's trying to get into my home.
Oh.
And it's been a multi-day campaign.
Okay.
And night. The squirrel's out at night, too. Which
oh, yeah, that's no good.
I'm not a fan of.
Yeah.
He was at my kitchen window the other day. We're on the second floor.
Right.
He's just scratching at it, trying to get in. My wife calls me in. I go in there. He's not afraid of us. We're banging
get
on the
away from my wife.
Yeah, listen, you squirrely son of a
You
bitch.
scoundrel.
We're banging on the window. It doesn't go away. It's just scratching on it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to get in.
Right.
He's been at...
You got a screen on that window?
Yeah,
Or?
and also it was closed
Yeah.
because it's the winter.
But I'm saying, is he like ruining the screen?
Yeah, but whatever. That's the least of his concern. That's the least of my concern.
Least of his concerns. Yeah, property damage.
Yeah. So he will just... One of my neighbors still has their friggin' air conditioner in.
Yeah, I still got mine in.
Yeah, well, you and my neighbor both need to get your act together. And he just sits atop there and stares into our window.
Okay.
And he's able to scale the side of the
building?
The building like
well,
Spider-Man.
yeah, it's like a brick building you live in, right?
Yeah.
I'm not giving away too many details about your home, am I?
No.
It's the brick building in New York City.
Hey, Tom, all right. Look, they know I live in New York City. They know
Right.
I live in a brick building.
But
they
they
don't.
might not
We've
have
never
put
said the
the
two
two
things
together,
Yeah. So, all right. Ixnay on the occasion lay of my apartment A. Is that what you do for Pig
I
Latin?
don't know. I never understood it.
I mean, it's not hard to understand.
Well, you can't do it.
Just things that start with vowels.
Yeah, but it's like you take the first letter and put it in the back or something.
Yeah. That's it. That's
Anyway,
literally all it is.
what else is this squirrel?
He's there all the time, and he makes a terrifying noise.
Like what?
Like,
Sounds like this squirrel's probably got rabies.
I know, but
Should lay him inside, help him out.
But here's the thing. We don't have control over the heat in our building.
Me neither.
So it just blasts.
So you live in the brick building that doesn't have control
no.
over the
Oh,
heat in New York
jeepers
City.
Creepers, Tom.
With the black squirrel outside sitting on the air
Look,
conditioner.
if somebody wants to come to my home, if they know what to do with a black squirrel, I'm not into violence.
Right.
But somebody's got to take this squirrel out. And nobody's alarmed by this. My neighbors next door, I was like, hey, I saw him in the hallway. I was like, you guys see the squirrel? They're like, yeah. It's like, he's trying to get in, and he's insane or something. He was just hanging out on my...
He's insane. It's a squirrel.
He was hanging out on my fire escape,
Yeah.
which is right next to my head while I sleep.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like your neighbors probably have a reasonable assurance. Yeah, he's trying to get in, but guess what? It's a squirrel. He's not going to be able to get in.
Guess what? It gets so hot. We don't have control.
You can't open the window.
Yeah,
I
and
see.
the other night, the squirrel wasn't around.
Or so you thought.
And my wife cracked the window open, like what she thought was not a lot, but it was a good 3 or 4 inches.
Oh, plenty of room for a squirrel to
A
get in.
squirrel can squeeze. A determined squirrel, and this is the most determined squirrel I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Could squeeze through there. I didn't even realize it was open. I fell asleep on the couch in the room. And I woke up and I was like, I need to go to bed. It's like the middle of the night. And I was like, oh, shit, this window's been open and unattended. This squirrel could be stalking her. This squirrel, my wife was in the next room. The squirrel could be...
He could be in bed next to my wife.
Yeah, he could have taken my place already. By the way, I think that's what he's after.
Well, it makes sense.
He wants to wear my clothes,
Right.
show up at my job.
Yeah, and be like, well, time to go to work, honey.
Yeah.
And your wife will be none the wiser.
Yeah. It might be an upgrade, but I don't know. But not if he has rabies.
Right. At least you don't have rabies.
Yeah. So I see him. I think he lives in the tree across the street.
Right.
But he's always looking at me from the tree. He's just fixated on our apartment, and he just hangs out like right up against the glass of our window because there's just a small windowsill.
Yeah.
And he's been to every single one of our windows, scratching, trying to get in.
Does he have any friends?
No!
Family?
No!
Huh.
He's been. I'm sure he's alienated any squirrel companions he's had in his life with his screeching.
Do you think maybe like you had your windows open in the summer and at some point you and your wife were at work and the squirrel came in and hid all of his nuts in there?
Maybe.
And now
the
it's winter and he's looking for his nuts again.
Look, if this squirrel just wanted to come in for a few minutes,
Gather his nuts.
do whatever he needs to do, and then leave, I'm okay with it.
Right. But it's how do you get that kind of assurance?
Exactly.
He'll tell you whatever you want to hear in the moment.
Oh yeah. He
But it's
is
just
a smooth operator,
It's
Tom.
just
Let
a
me tell you.
handshake deal.
Yeah.
Huh.
Nah, I'm afraid to deal with the devil.
Yeah.
So I'm afraid of a squirrel. The other night, I left my building. We're on the second floor.
Mm-hmm.
I left my building and I looked up. He was there. I was afraid he was gonna jump on me or something.
So you see him even when you're outside. You can pick him out.
He's 8 feet away from me when I'm outside.
Why didn't you menace him while you were on his turf? Why didn't you try and climb into the tree? Say, hey, how do you like this, pal?
He'd bite my neck, Tom.
Yeah, he'd probably be fine with it. He'd be like, yeah, you live in the tree, asshole. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go
I'll
sleep
steal
in,
your wife.
I'm gonna go sleep in your marital bed with your wife.
Yeah. Wouldn't be the first time a squirrel's gotten the best of me.
Well, that does sound exhausting.
Yeah, one time I got menaced by a goose, and I thought that was a goose waited for me outside of my work for
What?
a week straight, every day.
Why'd you do that goose in the first place?
I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah, that goose was not a fan of me, and
Animals
I thought this
don't
was
like you.
I mean, your dog Ginger likes me a lot.
She wants you to rub her nipples and her butt all the time, and you refuse to do either. So
Yeah.
I don't know how much she could possibly like you.
Well, she growls at me and barks at me until I pet her.
Right.
And then she stops, and I start petting her, and then she tries to weirdly position her body so that I'm then touching a part of her body that I don't want to touch.
The parts of her body that she can't touch. That's what it is. She's,
She can't touch her head.
She can like kind of touch her head, but
Well,
look, the
look.
head isn't. Look, would you?
Why does she
rather-
want me to touch her butt? Why don't you touch her?
I touch her butt enough.
Ugh.
I mean,
Ugh.
and look, I don't really like doing it because no, actually, it's
So you
not,
invite you force someone over into your home for a professional endeavor.
yeah.
This podcast, and you're just like, just touch my dog's butt.
No, it's just here's when you start scratching her butt, it's never enough. That's
Yeah.
the problem.
Tom, I don't want to
I've
talk about your
sat
dog's
there
butt anymore.
and
I'm sorry I brought it up.
Scratch my dog's butt for like an hour.
I don't like
And
this.
then within a half a second, not like her
This is enough.
butthole, like her
Yeah, but-
haunches.
I don't want to.
And then within a half a second of stopping, she's like, "What the hell? Go back to doing that." But she's got short legs. She can't reach. She got short legs and a long body. She can't reach her butt. Think about if you couldn't reach if you can scratch your ass all day, drive you crazy. It'd drive you crazy within an hour if you couldn't scratch your ass.
Yeah, I'd let that squirrel in and be like, all right, but here's the deal. Just, you got to scurry around my bottom.
Tim, this week, this is a stunt episode.
Yeah.
In a way, we're talking about America's fourth favorite pizza place, Papa
Third
John.
favorite delivery.
Third favorite delivery because Little Caesars does not offer delivery.
Yeah.
Papa John's, which we'll get into. Papa John himself is in the news this week, which we'll get into a little
John
bit later.
Schnatter.
Yeah, what a
cool name.
Schnatter.
I mean, it's the perfect name for a sweaty villain like that.
Yeah, I'll get you, Schnatter. We'll get
Nah,
into
if it was like Slopser or something, it'd be a lot
John
better.
Slopser.
Yeah. Right?
John Sweats with
Yeah.
a Z. We'll get into him a little bit later, but first we have to begin with the stunt portion of this episode, which is making me lethargic and tired and sick as we speak. We have just ordered. I've not had Papa John's pizza in years. We just ordered some pizza to try it because we're nothing. We have to be fair with our journalism.
Yeah, I used to, and I don't know what we were thinking. I went to college in New York City,
Yeah.
home of the greatest pizza in
Mhm.
the United States.
Sal's 2, the original Sal's, Sal Juniors.
You mean Ray?
Yeah, Ray. But then there's Sal's too. Tell me there aren't pizza places named Sal's in New York.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, there's
Yelp
Sal's.
We would order Papa John's all the time.
Yeah,
We eat that so much.
Papa John's is look. All right, we'll get into all
This
that
was-
stuff. We have to review first.
This was between 2000 and 2004. Yeah, the early years of the War on Terror.
Right. We have to talk about the pizza first, though. Then we'll talk about our experiences in the past with Papa John's.
I
don't
like,
know why we have to review it off the. I feel like I that
think we
there's
need
a
to
good
explain
chance
ourselves.
we're not going to make it through the episode.
I'm a little dizzy right now.
Yeah.
And I had 2 slices of pizza.
That same thing here. I'm shocked. Tim, you frequently refer to me as a monster
You are.
because of what I eat and how much I can eat of it. But I had 2 slices and a few cheese sticks.
Same.
Cheesy, what are they called? Cheese sticks? Cheese bread? Cheesy cheese stick bread?
I think cheese bread.
And then a dessert, which we'll tease for later.
Why are we you
don't
you have
know.
a very distinct structure in your head. I'm going to follow your lead on this. You let me know what I can reveal and when.
Okay. But I want to talk about this, and I realize neither of us have had Papa John's pizza in a long time. And again, I wanted to be fair. I didn't want my opinions to be based on old information.
Yeah, cheese sticks.
Cheese
Tom.
sticks.
Yeah.
Outdated information. So we had to order some fresh. Right off the bat, big problem. I download the app. I log into the app. The app's wanting to deliver pizza to where I lived a decade ago.
Well, that's not your that's not
Oh
the
no,
app's
but
fault.
luckily
That's-
I checked.
Yeah, but you were trying to. Did we ever order when we were roommates?
Yeah, we must have because it was in there.
It must have been like a Super Bowl party. or
Yeah,
something.
probably something along those lines.
Is there a history in the app of past
Oh, maybe
orders?
I could probably go look.
Yeah.
I know my old password didn't work.
Oh, you know what probably happened? I think they had
A data breach.
No, I think they had a crazy stunt pizza at some
Oh.
point that we were like, oh, we have to try the Philly cheesesteak pizza for
Oh,
only
yeah, I'm
$8.99 or something. We were gross.
Still am.
I had 2 slices of a plain cheese pizza and not even a large pizza.
No, we got a medium.
And
yes,
I feel
these are
like
pretty tiny slices.
I feel like I have sluggish blood right now. I feel like my blood is 80% more viscous than normal. Like if you opened a vein right now,
It'd be garlic sauce.
like nothing would come out. It'd be too like
it would
you'd have,
immediately clot.
yeah, it would be too, and it would squeeze out like I don't know, like
Melted butter.
No, not even melted butter. It would be
Somebody would have to run. It would have to like squeeze along your arm to get the blood out.
yeah, like when they have paint that comes in like artist
acrylic paint.
Yeah, that you like put on a
Squeeze out of a
palette.
tube.
Yeah.
That's what your blood's like right
Yeah.
now. So you have to squeeze your arm like a tube to get your blood out.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
You keep all my blood in me.
Yeah, that's
If I need to chop off a limb for a reason, that'll stop the
They should
bleeding.
give before people go into battle and war. They should give them Papa John's.
Yeah.
Bullets just go right through.
They would lose the war in 10 seconds. They'd be like,
You
up,
should-
2, 3.
Should just airdrop Papa John's behind enemy lines.
Yeah.
So download the app, and the app, much to my surprise, said, "Hey, you can't get Papa John's. It's not. We don't offer delivery where you are."
Oh, I thought it mistakenly thought you were a member of a minority group, and we know how Papa John feels about that.
Right.
Oh, he's not running things.
No,
though.
he's gone, which we'll get to.
Shaq's running things. Well, we'll get to that.
So I had to go on Seamless, which is a delivery website,
Mm-hmm.
and the
God
prices.
forbid you get off your duff.
What, and
and
go to
go-
a carry-out place? I'm
Yeah.
not going to do that. It was far.
You don't
Um,
leave your house.
I leave my house every day.
When's the last time you left your house?
Earlier today, Tim.
Yeah, right.
I
Where
leave
to
my
go to
house
Papa
every day.
John's?
Yeah, to go to Papa John's because it wouldn't deliver. I should have known that by the time I came back here. Like, oh yeah, they don't deliver. That's why I had to walk there earlier. So we're on Seamless. The prices on Seamless, I feel like, were marked up because
It's unseemly. Unseamless.
right. I feel like it maybe wasn't officially pop. I don't know what the hell was going on.
I also feel like it might have cut my brain off from the rest of my body.
I wonder if it's just, I guess a lot of Papa John's are franchised, and I guess maybe some of them can say, well, here's our delivery radius, but then they probably go independently on Seamless and essentially say, well, we'll deliver to a wider radius, but here are our prices for Seamless
Yeah.
in order to do that.
And guess what? They'll be unseemly.
So ordered off Seamless. It actually came relatively quick.
Mm-hmm.
Although ordering a medium pizza pie, a thing of cheese sticks, and then the dessert with tip was almost $50.
Yeah.
Which is a very expensive
And this
meal.
is famously why you don't tip.
No, I did tip. I gave a $7 tip for the delivery, and the guy called. I had to go downstairs. He didn't even bring it upstairs for me.
Yeah, you were so angry about that.
Well, that's ridiculous. A $7 tip, you can't run it up the steps.
You mean a
The
16%
elevator?
tip?
The elevator, it was $50 total.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the bill was $43.
Yeah, I gave a 15% tip because I knew that they probably weren't going to do that. But even still, it was $7. It's a pretty good tip.
I mean, no, it's not.
Yeah, it is
It's
$7.
16%.
$7
It's 16%. Do
on
you go to a restaurant?
overpriced things.
Do you go to a restaurant and be like, well, they mark this up. I know the wholesale value of the meal I had, and they've marked it up. So the waiter has to suffer.
No. But I just knew from past experience that they don't actually come up, that they deliver from the street. So
But how do you said
Mm-hmm.
$7 tip, and they won't even bring it
I'm
up. $7
saying
is a good tip. And then I said $7 is not a good tip, and you said, I know, because I knew I would get bad service. Your story's changing,
No,
Tom.
here's my story. I gave a 15% tip instead of 20% because I knew they wouldn't bring it up the stairs. However, regardless of that, $7 is still a pretty good tip, and you should bring it up the stairs.
What if the bill was $100? Is $7 a good tip, Tom?
No,
Is a 15% tip generally a good tip?
no. It's not a bad tip, but I usually do 20%.
It's a bad tip, Tom. You tipped poorly.
Whatever. The guy didn't bring it upstairs.
I know, and because you tipped poorly.
Well, and you saw how little food it was, and it wasn't even that much food.
Yeah, it wasn't that much food. I mean, it was far more than either of us are willing to eat.
Right, which I didn't even expect.
When you were like, maybe we should get a small instead of a medium, I was like, nah, man, I'll bring some of that home. I never want to see. I had 2 slices of this pizza. I never want to see another piece of pizza again.
Yeah, so we just got the plain cheese pizza. I will say this, that the Papa John's in the news this week. Papa John's Schnatter. Slopster. Schnatter. And one of the things he said is
sweat slop. Let's just call him sweat slop.
Is that in the last 30 days he's ordered 40 pizzas from Papa John's, and because of that he knows that the quality has dropped dramatically.
You know what? I would respect him a little bit if he had said he had ordered 40 pizzas. He said he has eaten 40 pizzas in the last 30 days.
He's ordered 80 pizzas.
No,
he has not been
ordered
able to
them
eat them.
and was like, I was testing how long the delivery was. I was testing what condition they came in. No, he ate all of these. He's still like the largest shareholder, right?
Yeah, he owns 31% of the company.
Yeah, so like if he was like, I was doing quality control and I took one bite from each pizza. No, he ate. You know this. How is he that sweaty if he didn't actually eat 40 pizzas in 30 days?
Yeah, and why is he eating the pizzas if he's so mad at the company?
Well, I mean, he still gets money from it. I mean, I guess he's spending his own money.
We'll talk about the pizzas in a minute, or Papa John and the pizzas. We're talking about the pizzas. See, the pizza has slowed my brain down. The pizza has now reached my brain. I wanted to see if what he was saying was in any way perceivable, that the quality had dropped. Tim, in your opinion, did that Papa John's pizza taste any different than any Papa John's pizza you've had in the last 20 years?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I've never addressed this on the podcast. Tom, I'm not a dope smoker. I'm not a drugs person.
Right.
But there were times in college when I
dope smoker.
I dabbled in
when you did smoke dope.
Yeah. And that was the time when we would order it.
Right.
And so at the time...
At the time, it was a Michelin star restaurant in your mind.
Yeah, and I was 19 years old, and eating 2 slices of this wouldn't bring me as close to death as I've ever been in my entire life.
Right.
So, yeah, I think it tasted better to my drug-addled mind.
Yeah.
Pot. I've never seen any other drug. Have you ever? We've talked about this. I've never even seen cocaine. I've never seen anybody who's been on cocaine.
I've definitely seen people who've been on cocaine,
but like Quentin Tarantino when he was on the Jay Leno show, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I've seen small amounts of cocaine, I think. But you know what? I'm saying that, but I can't remember like a specific situation. I know that when my brother moved into his current home, he found a bag of heroin.
What?
Yeah, in the washer dryer.
Wow.
From the previous tenant.
That I bet that guy was pissed that he left it there.
I'm sure. I was like, wow.
Is heroin expensive? I don't know. It's not, right?
I think it's pretty expensive. I don't know if it's
bad.
No, I don't know if it's that expensive, but I think it's mostly like when you really want it, you want it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's what they say about addictive drugs.
So I don't think anyone who enjoys heroin is like, oh, I've got some extra. Let me just throw that out.
Yeah.
That's one of the bad things about it.
So anyway, I wouldn't. This is one reason why I don't recommend
smoking dope.
Smoking dope is because it makes Papa John's palatable when it is very much an unpalatable food stuff.
Yeah, I didn't smoke much dope in college, but I did drink alcohol. And yeah, it was very much like you come home hammered and they would be open late. And then somebody would float that idea out. And it was, Pandora's box once it had been opened.
Right.
Once somebody had floated the idea of Papa John's, nobody was ever like, nah, I can't go for Papa John's.
And then when the Papa John's box came and you opened it, all the world's ghouls came out.
More or
like,
less.
oh no, we've literally opened it. Yeah, went right into our
excuse me,
arteries.
Jesus.
Yeah, could you not?
Well,
make
that's
that?
Papa John's fault.
I
not
know, but you don't
mine.
have to do it into the microphone. No,
It
Tom,
was unexpected.
Tom.
What? That
Enough.
One I did over here, so you couldn't
I know,
hear it.
but enough. Nobody wants to hear that.
I can't help it. Talk to Papa John.
I don't want to talk to Papa John. He scares me.
Well, look, Tim, and it was a
His
trick.
beady
because
eyes.
because-
He had the beady eyes of the squirrel that's menacing me.
It was a trick, Tim, because Papa John has no say in the company anymore. He can't change anything about it.
He'd love to, according to him.
Yeah, the pizza tasted exactly as I remembered from
Yeah.
Papa John.
Bad chain pizza.
The sauce was a little bit better than I remembered.
Uh,
Or maybe I just didn't think about the sauce, and I was thinking as I
well,
was eating
you have
this.
a more refined palate. Now.
Yeah, well, I was thinking as I was eating it, the sauce is what
They probably just added more sugar to it.
probably, I was thinking the sauce is the best part of this pizza, which is rare for a chain pizza. I think most chain pizzas, it's the cheese. Or actually, no, Pizza Hut, they do the crust really nice.
Yeah.
They do like the Chicago-style crust.
Can I tell you, I was late
Uh-huh.
to an event that I was heading to this last week with a friend of ours who I'm always getting on.
Tim, it's like I was late to an event with a friend of ours.
I was going to a concert
Okay.
with I can say the person's name, but you would know her, but the listeners wouldn't.
Okay.
Who's always late to stuff.
Right.
And I'm always giving her a
I
hard
see.
time.
So you don't want to call this person out.
Yeah, I always give her a hard time for being late to everything. I was 15 minutes late meeting her because I got sucked down a rabbit hole of YouTube videos of how to replicate an early 90s Pizza Hut personal pan pizza using a regular cast iron thing that you have at home. Pan. Personal pan pizza. It's right there.
Right. It's right in the name.
But there's several tutorial videos. I was like, this one doesn't look like it fully got it after watching it for 14 minutes. Let me watch the next one that comes up.
There's nothing worse than watching a tutorial on YouTube where they're doing something like that. We're like, we're going to replicate it. And then they get done and you're looking at it and you're going, that isn't it.
Yeah.
You got it wrong.
Yeah, well, what, how are you going off? And this was just like, oh, you get dough, and you just like, well, there's got to be something different about the Pizza Hut version of it.
Yeah. Did you find out what the secret was?
I think cornstarch. That seems like a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna try to I mean, my plan was to try to replicate it at some point this weekend. But now that I've had this pizza, I don't want to have any kind of pizza product.
Yeah.
For at least 6 weeks.
To replicate Pizza Hut pizza, you're going to need a lot of oil, too.
Yeah.
I imagine.
Yeah.
The garlic butter tasted absolutely the same as I remember from college.
So one thing about Papa John's is their dipping sauces.
Right.
And their garlic butter dipping sauce.
Yeah. So standard, when you buy a pizza, they include, for anybody that's not familiar, a little dipping sauce of garlic butter. And that's kind of...
They call it special garlic sauce.
Yeah, because I'm sure it's technically not butter. It's garlic and carcinogens. But it tastes...
Butter's a carcinogen, too.
Not
right?
like margarine or whatever it is.
This is just like all sorts of hydrogenated oils and stuff. Yeah.
It tastes exactly the same. And that's always been Papa John's secret sauce. The garlic sauce, which I'm shocked that more fast food pizza places haven't copied this notion of, look, nobody likes to waste crust, but you're going to only eat crust if you're hungry because otherwise you want to leave more room for food. But what if there was something you could dip your crust into that would make it more palatable? And now Pizza Hut, they thought of the stuffed crust. They said, we're going to put cheese in the crust.
Who said this?
Domino's?
Pizza Hut.
Yeah. No, I said Pizza Hut. And then you said, who said this?
Okay, because I wasn't listening. I was reading the ingredients for the Papa John's garlic
okay.
sauce.
This is a problem fast food pizza places have been trying to tackle since time began. How do we get these fat jerks to eat our crust? They wanted to eat it, but it's not palatable enough. Let's put
Pizza Hut.
cheese in it.
Yeah.
Let's put butter on it.
You're a non-crust eater, and I feel like that's a very funny thing.
I eat crust most of the time. I will not eat crust. It depends on the crust. Some crust I don't like.
Yeah, it's funny, like getting a slice at a local slice joint.
Yeah.
You always throw the crusts out.
Not always. If the crust is like, if it's kind of like burnt, if it's like a real crispy crust, I usually won't eat it. If it's a doughy crust, I'll eat it.
Soybean oil, water, salt, vegetable mono and diglycerides, garlic, natural flavors, soy lectin, lactic acid, sodium benzoate, calcium disodium EDTA, citric acid, stuff you can make at home. Vitamin A palmitate.
Oh, it's got vitamins in it.
Yeah. It enhances the flavor, the vitamin A palmitate.
Right. It's probably just like how they were putting that vitamin E acetate in vapes and killed people. Vitamins aren't always good for you, Tim.
Vitamins are always good for you.
That's the message of this week's episode.
Especially ingested in smoke into your lungs.
Vapor, not smoke. Yeah, so
what's vapor if not smoke?
The pizza was, I don't know. It was good, kind of, but it just started immediately making me feel bad.
I gotta tell you something. I didn't eat anything all day except for a fun-sized Three Musketeers before I got here.
Okay, I had a McDonald's breakfast sandwich this morning.
I ate probably
only because they were on sale and because I needed coffee, and I was getting the coffee there anyway, and it was only $2 for any breakfast sandwich I wanted. So it'd be stupid not to.
What breakfast sandwich did you get?
I got a sausage, egg, and cheese on a bagel, a McBagel. It wasn't that good.
No.
I don't know why I was surprised. I should have just gone with the McGriddle. But
no,
the problem
McGriddle is the most the vilest creation of
no,
all
they
time.
must put nicotine in McGriddles or something. I've never had a McGriddle and not immediately wanted to get up and order 5 more.
Oh, there was one time it was the first time I realized I was like 24 years old at a bite of a McGriddle, and I felt my heart skip a beat. I was like,
That's not how things work.
I gotta straighten up and fly right.
Tim, that meant you were falling in love.
With the McGriddle?
Yeah.
With the grimace?
You wish.
Tom, I could fall in love with the grimace. Whether or not that would be reciprocated, that's something I might wish for.
All right, and let me bring us to the final course, the dessert.
Yeah, why are you saving this?
I don't know. We got the cookie pie.
Yeah.
The cookie pie is like, it's a chocolate chip cookie in the shape of a pie.
That they cooked for about half the time that they were supposed to, I feel like.
That's always what they do. That's how that cookie is. It's like the Mrs. Fields style.
I've never had a Mrs. Fields.
You've never had a Mrs. Fields?
No, I'm not allowed to go to the mall.
Oh, Tim, Mrs. Fields cookies are so good. You should have one.
All right. I mean, does it taste like this
Yeah,
thing?
it's like very, very soft. Like it tastes like it hasn't been cooked long
I'll
enough.
tell you, Tom, I feel like hell right now.
You
And
gotta
the
look
thought
like hell. You look like how you were describing that squirrel earlier.
Yeah. This was that squirrel's plan all along.
This is some Kafka-esque metamorphosis shit. You're gonna turn into that squirrel.
I'll wake up
And
as
you're
that
going to be,
squirrel.
trying to convince. You're going to be back in time, banging on the window, trying to convince your wife that it's you.
Oh, brother. I would eat another piece of that cookie pie right now.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
And I don't want any food. I don't want any food for the next 48
I should have
hours.
gotten us more of the cookie.
No, Tom, we objectively should not eat more of
No,
that
we-
food.
we
Of any
had-
of that food.
We had
That food, no, that will only do bad things to
we
us.
had one slice each, and there's like 6 more slices left.
Yeah, but we're about to die.
I know, but if you don't eat them, then I'm gonna eat them.
You're
all.
sweating so much.
Oh God, yeah. I understood why Papa John sweats so much. Like halfway through my first slice, I just started sweating like crazy.
Can I ask you a question? I
Uh-huh.
have one main overarching question about Papa John the man,
Okay.
Mr. Schnatter.
We can start talking about the man.
Does he know how sweaty he is? Does he know that this is like everybody isn't that sweaty?
I don't. Yeah.
Does he think? Does he look at other people and be like, "I bet my skin is about the same moisture level as them"?
I don't know. I mean,
Because every time I see him, he's sweating beyond belief.
it's weird. Like people speculate pretty openly, and we've speculated this that he potentially has a drinking problem.
Yeah. Well, in all his, because he was the face of Papa John's
Right.
forever, and he was in all of the commercials
Uh-huh.
and signage, smiling, like being, "Hello, welcome to come to my restaurant. Better ingredients,
Right.
better pizza." But he never had a convincing smile. Like he's one of those people that can't smile
Yeah.
unless you see a picture of when he's drunk and he has one of those like
Dopey smile.
drunken leering smiles. Like it's yeah,
it's
it's
a
like-
different kind of smile.
Yeah, it's like, oh no, whoever you're looking at and smiling like that should run very
Right.
fast.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, it's a very plastered on smile on the commercials.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's been seen at football games looking very drunk.
Looking the way we do right now.
Right.
I've also had
Man.
one beer and I feel like I look like Papa
Yeah,
John.
maybe he's just been eating his pizza backstage or whatever.
Maybe he's been eating 1 1/3 of those entire pies a day.
Oh God, yeah. Can you imagine? No, he'd be dead if he actually ate all that. Maybe he's worked up an immunity. But
See, I'm telling you, man, the real evil ones,
mhm.
they can eat whatever they want. They can do whatever they want. They won't die. The real evil ones,
Yeah.
you can't kill with the stuff that kills most Americans.
Right. But I was wondering, watching that interview where like he just looked like he was sweaty and like real puffy looking.
Yeah.
And I was-
It was a
and-
local affiliate.
Right. He was for some reason wearing a shirt that said Jeff Basketball.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Jeff Basketball?
He was wearing a red shirt that looked like a Papa John shirt, like the Papa John shirt he would always wear with a little white logo.
Mm.
But if you zoomed in, it said Jeff Basketball.
I mean, that must be, what is it, like a University of Kentucky or something? Like, who did he give a
Maybe.
lot of money to
yeah,
over
I
the years?
guess.
Like, that might be. They make merch for, like, based on college basketball players.
Oh.
Even though they're not allowed to, like, they'll merchandise and
So there might be like
Sell
a
March
player
Madness.
named Jeff, and they're like, oh, and he's Jeff Basketball, like
Yeah.
Donnie Baseball.
yeah, exactly.
Okay. But he looked like hell.
I like the idea of you zooming in on this video. too.
Enhance. But people speculated like, oh man, like he looks like he's hitting the booze pretty hard
Right.
based on how his face looks right now. And it's weird to me to think because I feel like in our day and age, when you're that rich and well known, you don't get like there are enough people around you that are like, hey, you gotta quit booze or else you don't go on TV until you quit. Like, and we'll send you to the best rehab center or whatever money can buy. It's gonna be the best vacation you've ever had, but you can't go on TV looking like that.
Look, man, he's been going on TV looking like hell for
It's true.
decades.
He didn't look so bad years ago.
Oh, can you imagine the guy that had to squeegee him off before each take? They probably had somebody come on and then they had to reapply all that pancake
Yeah.
makeup on him, and then
Part
after
of the problem is that he has very obviously black dyed hair.
yeah,
I mean, he's too old to have hair that dark. And when older men start going gray, and they're for some reason they think, Well, instead of dyeing my hair the color it was, I'm gonna dye it black, an unnatural jet black. That's what he looks like. It is just like very, very black, and he does not look otherwise healthy enough to maintain that thick head of black hair.
Tom,
Mm-hmm.
in October of this year, Papa John,
Yeah, the man, not the pizza.
Slopster, donated $500,000 to his alma mater, Jefferson High School.
Oh, so that's Jeff Basketball, probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, there's unfortunately not a man named Jeff Basketball, which is a bummer.
I wish.
Yeah.
You know what? I can get more behind donating money. Wait, he donated to the basketball program?
Just to the school.
Okay.
They put it toward a new turf infield and outfield fence to the school's baseball stadium. And the complex will be renamed John H. Schnatter Stadium, which seems like a bad idea.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess 500.
We thought that it was a great opportunity to show that you can overcome mistakes, so we are glad to work with Schnatter on this. Said this guy Hutchinson.
That he can overcome mistakes by giving money?
Yeah, if you can say a racial slur on a conference call and get ousted as a company's CEO, but if you give somebody $500,000, they'll accept it. And
Yeah.
that's how you overcome adversity.
And he never overcame his mistake.
No, he just gave this. Look, if I was like a high school principal, I'd be sure, Papa John, I'll take your $500,000.
Well, and I'm sure that
I wouldn't put it towards the fucking baseball stadium, though.
Yeah, and
They're in Indiana. I'm sure the high schools aren't super well funded.
Yeah. I would assume too that he sorry, the pizza's clogged up my brain.
Wait, hold on. I wasn't listening when you were talking about him dyeing his hair before because I
Yeah.
was looking up Jeff Basketball.
Uh-huh.
He sweats that much. How come the dye doesn't
Is that how dye
go
works?
down his forehead
I don't think he dyes his hair right before the commercial.
with shoe polish?
No. He does it earlier in the week.
But it's so greasy. How do you have a dyed hair that's that greasy and you're sweating that much?
because you
And
rub
some of that doesn't run.
No. You rub a pizza on there to get the grease going.
That's what he does?
Yeah, it's advertise the pizza.
Nice.
Look how greasy this pizza is.
Done wonders for my hair.
Oh, I was going to say, I'm sure that PR firm that they hired was like, oh, hey, here's how to fix that PR disaster. Go out and apologize for saying that players shouldn't kneel during the national anthem, especially because your criticism was predicated on why your sales were down. It wasn't even like, oh, I disagree with it. I think it's unpatriotic. I think it's this or that. It was, no, I'm going to use this as an excuse for why pizza sales are down because people aren't watching football because players kneel at the beginning of the game sometimes. And that pisses people off to the point where they don't order pizza.
Yeah.
He could have just said, you know what, I misspoke. I support freedom of expression. Sorry about all that.
But instead he's
Here's
like, Colonel Sanders said the N-word.
Right. And then instead during a conference call with his crisis PR firm, he said, Colonel Sanders called blacks the N-word. And
But he said the N-word.
he actually said it. And it worked out for him. Why is this happening to me,
Colonel
essentially?
Sanders was a fuck.
Right.
That guy sucked.
And it's also, Colonel Sanders did that 50 years ago.
Oh, when it was okay, Tom?
No, but 50 years ago, people did get away with that shit. Nowadays isn't 50 years ago, thank God. So that's why you can't say things like that anymore.
Yeah.
And especially...
But they had Woodstock, Tom.
Whatever. Shove Woodstock up your butt.
Say that to the Jefferson Airplane.
Are they all still with us?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, I'll say it to the surviving members.
Yeah. Well, they became Starship.
All right, well, I'll say it to them.
Well, first they became Jefferson Starship.
Right. And then just
It was a really cool evolution.
But yeah, it was just a very... he had a million chances to fix his mistake by just apologizing and saying,
Yeah, but guys like this,
yeah,
they've done their entire lives is doubled down and benefited from
right,
it.
that's true.
And then you double down one time too many, and then you become the victim.
Yeah.
And that's what he's doing right now.
He was also some people remember, but some people forget that he was against Obamacare because he claimed that Obamacare would cause the prices of his pizza to have to rise anywhere from 5 to 10 cents in order to provide the mandatory health care to his employees, to which most rational people said, oh, that's all it would take? I'll pay 10 cents more for my pizza if that means all of your employees will go from not having any health insurance whatsoever to having health insurance? Yeah, that's a fair trade.
The man who has a full golf course on his property.
He has an 18-hole golf course. He lives in an actual castle that he built.
Yeah. He's doing all right. Hey, you know what? Where you could have gotten some of that money for,
right.
for the healthcare.
I mean, that's the thing. You could have eaten the cost, and you would have been fine 10 cents per pizza. But he had the audacity to go out there and say, "Look, you guys don't want this healthcare for the whole country because you're not thinking this through. It's going to cause pizza prices to go up 10 cents a pie."
Yeah, even if you order 100 pizzas a year from me, that's going to cost you $10 extra.
Right. Yeah. So think about that next time you go to the polls.
The inside story of Papa John's toxic culture by Noah Kirsch in Forbes magazine, Tom.
Okay.
In 1999, a mobile phone representative named Leslie Workman filed a lawsuit alleging that Papa John groped her after meeting her at a party in a Louisville park, proceeded to stalk her, and then asked her boss to send her to Papa John's to discuss a possible phone contract. Could you imagine being like, hey, send that sexy dame over. I got a contract to talk about. He denied the allegations and filed a counterclaim, but the case ended with him paying a confidential settlement.
It's always what people do when they're innocent. I was going to bring it up before when you were talking about him having 40 pizzas in 30 days. I was also thinking about the poor person that has to deliver the pizzas to his crazy mansion, and that pizza order comes in 1 to 2 times a day.
Oh my God.
Every day, and they gotta be thinking, oh God.
I bet he tips even worse than you.
I'm sure he does. I'm sure he probably flips him a dime and says, here for your health care.
Yeah, he's definitely somebody that would take it personally and take it out on his employees.
Oh, I'm sure like the person probably tries to give him the pizza and run away. And he's like, no, you're going to wait here with me while I try the pizza. And then I'm going to give you my complaints about what's different and what's worse. There's no way a fast food chain of that size could not institutionalize that dramatic of a change in 2 years. Unless they in those 2 years dramatically changed the process with which they make the pizzas, or have changed the suppliers for the ingredients, it's going to be the same pizza, more or less. And they haven't done either of those things. And it's not like they've come out and said, we got rid of Papa John and they probably should do this. We got rid of them and we have a new recipe. We have a new, because I think they're doing bad, right?
Yeah.
Like
according to Papa John.
No, I mean like financially.
Yeah.
Like we're going to reboot this whole thing. We're going to have a new logo, new recipe, all of that. We're going to have like a cartoon Papa John instead of a sweaty guy's head.
A female employee says that Schnatter asked about her bra size and that he never let her pass in a hall without giving her a hug. It's also from that Forbes article.
Yeah.
But imagine, even if there wasn't anything sexual about it, if your boss gave you a friggin' hug. Just how
Yeah.
annoying that would be.
Yeah.
And then 10 billion times worse when he's a leering creep and you're a
Right.
lady.
and after you give that hug, then you're all sweaty.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, it seems like that'd be pretty easy to prove. Save the sweaty dress.
Right.
Hand it over to prosecutors. He denies it.
You've got a bunch of hair dye on your collar.
Exactly. Hair dye and grease from the pizza that was rubbed in his hair and just his sweat.
Yeah.
Yeah, if nothing else, like her clothes budget probably went through the roof.
Right. Yeah.
I
no,
can't get
got,
grease out of these
I
clothes.
got chuck this
Yeah.
this outfit.
Yeah. Yeah. He's a good man, though.
I was gonna say when I was in college, we had a few independent places that I would order from more than Papa John's that were better. One was called DP Dough. It was a calzone place. They only made calzones.
Okay, well, that's not a 1-to-1 then.
It's Italian food. And the other was Cluck You. They made chicken wings.
Yeah, I know about Cluck You.
That's what I've got.
They tried to expand Cluck You into New York City, but they called it Pluck You.
I think that was a different
Yeah,
company.
it was like they tried to,
Yeah.
steal the idea.
You know what it stood for, right?
What?
University, the U.
Yeah. There are two things I'll side with Papa John's, not Papa John.
Okay.
And
The restaurant, not the man.
yeah, I'm a Pizza Hut man. You know this. Personal pan pizza.
You're the Pizzone guy.
I'm the Pizzone guy. Whenever I enter the room, they go, "Hey, it's the Pizzone guy." And I go, "Hey, who wants a Pizzone?" Then I'll order Pizzones for everybody,
Nice.
provided everybody pays me back on Venmo.
Right. Yeah.
I'll send requests. It's not on you to remember, but
Right,
I
you'll
need to be
send the
reimbursed for
receipts.
these Pizzones. In 1997, Pizza Hut filed a lawsuit against Papa John's based on a series of advertisements that compared the ingredients of Papa John's and its competitors. Pizza Hut successfully argued that Papa John's slogan did not constitute statements of literal fact, that, quote, fresher ingredients do not necessarily account for a, quote, better pizza.
Yeah.
Hey, Pizza Hut, I love you, and I hate Papa John's with a passion. But somebody says their slogan is fresher ingredients, better pizza, and you take them to court over it. Come on, man. What? That's a loser's mentality there. Right? You can't come back for. They're not even like Pizza Hut's pizza is bad. They're just like, hey, if you use fresher ingredients, that's better pizza. And Pizza Hut's like, screw you there. No, pizza can still be good if it doesn't have fresh ingredients. We'll take you to court. We'll sue you on it.
So they didn't try and argue that, no, your ingredients aren't fresher. Like there's not a 1-to-1 here of freshness.
No, they didn't. They were just like, no, fresher doesn't mean better.
Oh.
Stop saying that.
Yeah, that's kind of like that's a little bit Streisand effecty of them calling attention to, yeah, our ingredients aren't fresh. Who cares? So what?
Yeah, so what? That doesn't mean it's not good. It's
Yeah.
good. It's probably even better.
Where
But
it'd be different if they argued, no, your ingredients aren't fresher, ours are fresher or just as fresh. But like, no, it doesn't matter if our shit comes from cans and it's frozen.
I read that whole thing from Wikipedia. I know people are like, they just read things from Wikipedia. Yeah, I read that part from Wikipedia.
And you've also heard, like a lot of this was coming out around when Papa John was saying he didn't want to pay for healthcare. That like he started his restaurant in his dad's bar.
Mm-hmm.
In just like a broom closet. He like cleared out a broom closet and started selling pizzas in
Yeah.
there. And yeah, how?
Which was enterprising.
Oh, it's enterprising, but at the same time, it's like, well, you did have a leg up. Like you had
You
free
didn't have to
real
rent
estate,
it. Yeah, exactly.
which is a huge. Most restaurants go under because they have to pay for real estate.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a leg up he got.
He sold his Camaro, a very depressing thing to do in 1984.
Especially for a guy like Papa John.
Yeah, exactly. He probably had to sell it at a discount because there was so much grease at the seats.
Right. Or he had to replace the seats before he sold it.
And then in 2009, he's like, I want it back. I'll pay $250,000 to the person who sells me back the Camaro I sold.
No.
This is part of this is the one good thing I can say about Papa John.
Mm-hmm.
And the family that he had sold it to in 1984
Mm-hmm.
was like, hey, we don't have it anymore. We sold it to this other guy.
Yeah.
And that other guy sold it back to Papa John for $250,000. But Papa John was like, I feel bad. And he gave that family a $25,000 finder's fee.
Oh, that is nice.
Yeah.
Papa John, a good man.
Yeah, he wasn't even doing it as a PR thing to get his name on a stadium after he said the N-word on a conference call.
All right. Do you want to solve a problem?
No, hold on. The one other defense of Papa John's, the restaurant.
Uh-huh.
They invented the pizza dipping sauce, and I know that's a dubious honor,
Mhm.
but I love a dipping sauce. I love any kind of dip, and I think it is a legit innovation. I don't love their dipping sauces, but I think incorporating dipping sauces into new realms is a positive thing.
And as such, we should forgive John Schnatter for any things he said.
Let's solve a problem. Hello and welcome to Tim and Tom Solve Your Problems. I'm Tim.
I'm Tom.
And I just ate one of those cookies.
Yeah, during the break, I still have a little of my cookie. I'm going to munch on it while we're...
No, don't. No.
It's so soft you can't even tell.
No, because you were eating it before and it was... You think it's not being picked up on the microphone. Stop it. No, Tom, nobody
You can't
fucking
even
likes
hear
that.
it. You
Nobody
can't hear it.
fucking likes that. I hate it on podcasts when people are like, oh, we'll eat this, but some people have misophonia and can't take it. Oh, well, fuck them, blah, blah, blah. And then they just laugh. It sucks. It sucks. Do not chew into the microphone, Tom.
It's gone now.
Fucking burped into the microphone. You're chewing into the microphone.
The bourbon couldn't be helped.
That's
That was
ridiculous.
But you gotta relax.
You gotta relax.
Yeah. You know what you should eat? A chill pill.
I do eat chill pills, Tom.
I told you I had a problem with chill pills.
I've been putting...
I was briefly addicted to chill pills.
I've been drinking herbal tea with a few drops of CBD. Maybe I am a doper still.
Yeah.
I put way too much CBD in my tea last night, and it was awesome. I fell asleep at like 9:45.
Woke up scalded from the tea.
No, I woke up. I drank my whole tea. I fell asleep at like 9:45, and then I woke up about a half hour before my alarm.
Mm-hmm.
I was just lying there for 15 minutes trying to figure out what day it was. I was like, is it Saturday? Was last night Friday? What did I do last night? I can't remember what I did last night.
Yeah, you never wake up and think it's Monday and it's not. You always think it's Saturday or Sunday. Usually Saturday, I feel like.
I was really trying to retrace my steps. What are you looking at? You're looking at me from
I'm
an
just
odd
chewing
angle.
off mic.
Okay. Well, stop looking at me while you do it. Look at the floor. Thank you. This comes from Pookie Pants, Tom.
Is that their Christian name?
Yeah. Hi, Tim and Tom. Longtime listener, and I finally have a real problem I'm hoping you can help me solve. From Pookie Pants. As a person that likes to be aware of their surroundings at all times, sure, you can say I'm ninja-like. Nobody said that. I like to look at the names of my neighbors on their mail packages and then search for them online.
Well, that's a bridge too far.
This usually goes pretty smoothly, but friggin' LinkedIn ratted me out by transferring me from my mobile browser, which I was not logged in on, to the LinkedIn app where I was logged in, thus showing my neighbor that I have looked at their profile. What do I do now when I get trapped in the elevator with this neighbor in case they're aware that I've been stalking them on LinkedIn? Moving out soon, Pookie Pants. First of all, LinkedIn.
Yeah.
You don't need to access it from an app on your phone. Delete the fucking app.
Yeah.
And don't stay signed in to LinkedIn ever for any reason on any browser.
Well, how do you get news and how do you congratulate people about their job anniversaries, Tim?
Well, Well, if you need to sign in, if you get an update in an email that someone you haven't thought about since high school is celebrating 8 years at some depressing company and you want to congratulate them, click the link, sign in, congratulate that loser, and then sign out.
I never thought about like what kind of emails I probably like that I get included in other people's.
Yeah, because
That's
you're
gonna
like
be horrible.
writer at Self-Employed,
Yeah,
right?
right. And I was just about to say that like I hate when I get an email and it's like, congratulate Bobby for 20 years at Bobby Incorporated, something that's not a real thing.
CEO at Hustle and Grinding.
Yeah,
it's like,
shit like that. And like I just have writer at Self-Employed because that's accurate.
Yeah.
But people probably get emails. Congratulate Tom for, and I can't believe it. I get emails all the time from LinkedIn where it's like, network with other people who work for your company, Self-Employed. And then it just has other people who have and it's like a drop down. It's not like I entered in Self-Employed.
You know what we should do?
What?
Create an employer page that looks legit.
Okay.
And so all the self-employed or underemployed folks out there that want to be on LinkedIn for networking, but don't want to put like some people put it like they make up some like thing and then you look and it's like, oh, it's one employee and it's this person. You and I should create a page and invite all of the listeners to the Complete Guide to Everything and their friends who don't want to just put that.
Right.
And they'll be a part of like Coliseum Eisenhower Incorporated.
Yeah, and we can give everybody VP titles.
Yeah, and we'll manage
Vice President of Development.
Yeah, we can write a whole bunch of like we can make a mission statement and put it there.
Yeah.
And then people will be like, "Oh man." And then suddenly we're rocketing to the top of the most valuable companies. What? Really?
We made it on the Forbes 50?
I mean, this is what happened to WeWork, and then they were just like, "Fuck, I guess we got to go with it."
Right.
And then that one guy left with billions of dollars.
Right. I mean, everybody else lost their jobs.
Yeah.
But that guy, he made out like a bandit.
Yeah.
And that'll be us. and you, the listener, you'll be the people that get screwed.
Man, I'm so bummed about what happened to the employees of WeWork. That sucks.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah. Join our fake company.
Yeah, come work for us.
Yeah, we'll float you till you find a new job. But Pookie Pants.
I have that thing turned off on LinkedIn, by the way.
What?
Where like I can see who visited my profile, but then that means other people can see.
Right.
And like every time I go on, it's like I don't think they might not even offer that option anymore. It might be like grandfathered in because they're always trying to get me to turn it off.
Yeah.
But for that reason, because I don't want somebody to see that I'm looking at their stuff.
Here's the thing. You get
because most of the time I'm looking at enemies of mine, former enemies, where I'm like trying to see where they work and trying to see like, are they doing better or are they doing
show up there?
No, I'm trying to see if they're doing better or worse than last I had seen.
Yeah.
them.
Here's the thing. I don't think many people check very often who's been looking at their profile. And I know that LinkedIn will generate an email sometimes, but not all the time.
Yeah, I get emails where it's like this many people, but then when you look at it, it's like, oh, these are all like scams or whatever.
Yeah. If you do wind up in an elevator with your neighbor, and like, first of all, they probably won't even say anything. They probably will just assume what happened. And guess what? Pookie Pants, you're on the hook for that it happened.
Yeah.
Or they'll, if they're weirded out, they'll be like, "Did you look me up on LinkedIn? Are you Pookie Pants?" And be like, "Yeah, you were suggested as a contact."
I was gonna say.
I clicked on you, and we have nobody in common. Are they fucking matching us?
Yeah. Are they listening?
Are they? Yeah. Like, are they using our address? That is a serious and. Turn it all around on LinkedIn for being a shit. Like, can you believe this?
Yeah.
Can you believe this?
I guess they must have seen that our phones were within 50 feet
Yeah, or
of
they're
each other.
going by our address or something. I don't know if you put your address into LinkedIn or
Yeah,
whatever.
I don't think so.
But like, this is a bridge too far.
I'm gonna call my congressman.
Yeah, let's take down LinkedIn. Let's go down to the LinkedIn building and raise some hell.
Yeah.
Bang on the doors and say, "Stop what you're doing."
Yeah, let's go down to LinkedIn Park and tell them enough
Protest.
is enough.
Yeah. Occupy LinkedIn.
Yeah. But then get out of there before somebody who can tell the truth comes by.
Nobody tells the truth on the internet, Tom.
No, but they will if you're in the park in a real life place.
What do you mean?
Somebody from LinkedIn might come out of the building.
Do you believe anything out of Reed Hoffman's mouth? Is that
and
his
say, "Look, I'll tell you what happened."
name? Hastings?
That's Netflix.
But Reed something is LinkedIn,
yeah,
right?
probably. Or are you thinking of
Nope.
Salesforce?
Nope.
Anyway, yeah, it's fine. They're not gonna. They're probably
Reed
not.
Hoffman. I was right the first time. I'm
Okay.
always right.
You said, yeah,
And then I said Hoffman. I said Reed Hoffman, or is it Hastings?
right. Dustin.
It's Dustin Hoffman's brother.
They're not gonna see that you looked, and even if
Yeah.
they did, it's fine. And if they don't bring it up to them, because that's gonna look too guilty.
Yeah.
But if they bring it up, say, "Oh yeah, that is you showed up as a suggestion. And I clicked because I thought that was you."
Yeah. And I was like, oh, we have professional contacts in common?
Yeah.
But no, we don't.
Or say we did, but then that person had their account removed for abuse.
Yeah. And then,
You don't know them, although it said you knew them.
yeah. It said you got fired for saying a racial slur on a conference call?
Papa John would never live in an apartment.
No. I mean, I could see him being a pretty bitchin' slumlord, though.
Right.
I bet he owns a lot of apartments.
Oh, sure.
Ugh.
If you have a problem you'd like us to solve, you can email us, thecompleteguideeverything@gmail.com. If you are looking for more show, tcgt.com is your source. If you want to support the show, check out tcgt.com/Amazon for all of your Amazon shopping this holiday season, and patreon.com/complete guide for our secondary podcast called Books the Podcast, where what?
Well, somebody wrote in with another problem that we were going to solve if we had time. And in the postscript, they said 50 Shades of Tim was a great segment, and I would kill somebody to have it return.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? We're not reading 50 Shades of Grey over on Books the Podcast, but it's the same dang format of 50
Yeah.
Shades of Tim. One of us reads a book and explains it to the other,
Right.
and we're real dumb about it. And it's if you like this show, you'll like that show even better.
Unless you were into 50 Shades of Tim purely for the eroticism.
Yeah, but I think Books the Podcast is pretty
Sometimes
erotic.
we get into eroticism, yeah. We just finished Interview with the Vampire. Things got erotic
That was sensual,
there.
Tom.
It was very sensual.
Yeah.
But yeah, this week we start Little Women. So if you've ever wanted to know what I think of reading Little Women and what Tim thinks of it as he hears about it, patreon.com/complete guide. And you can follow us on Twitter @complete guide. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram @Tom Reynolds.
Follow me at your pal Tim.
Tim, give a review out of 10 of this Papa John's meal you just had overall. So including the cookies, which I think we're pretty much on board with, are pretty good. Although that little tin of cookies, I think it was $8. It was not worth $8. $4, sure.
-5. I hated this meal.
Yeah.
I will have a bad day tomorrow. My day, I've ruined the rest of my night, and I will have a terrible day tomorrow because of this meal.
It's crazy. We really didn't even eat that much of it.
No, that's the worst part. If I had overindulged and been like, well, I ate like a fucking pig.
Yeah.
But no, I ate probably
Like a bird.
Yeah, I had 2 slices of pizza and a couple of things of cheesy bread.
Yeah.
The cookie raised it from like a -18 to a -5. But no. What about you?
So you're with Papa John that the quality has gone down.
No. I think this is why I felt so bad in college, and I was half my age, too.
That's why I felt so bad in college. That's why I felt bad for 4 years.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I didn't feel well.
I mean, I do remember looking back that, and in college, like I remember.
I wasn't smoking dope for 4 years, Tom. It's like 1 year post 9/11. Dealing with some stuff.
It was Al Qaeda's fault.
Yeah.
I remember in college, like priding myself on, like never having a hangover or whatever, because you're young and you're just like you don't really puke and rally. I never did that. I did that like maybe
I've done
once.
that a few times.
I
did that more recently than I'm proud of.
Well,
but it
good
was
for
like
you.
a rare time. It was
Yeah.
like I haven't gotten drunk enough to puke except for that one time in the last 10 years. Probably.
But then you went back to drinking?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Nobody knew. They thought my bloodshot eyes was because I was crying in the bathroom.
I have luckily not puked from drinking much in the past few years, but whenever I have, I've then not felt well for at least 2 days.
Yeah.
But what my point was going to be that even though I would not really get sick in college from drinking, would not get hangovers, I do remember drunkenly ordering Papa John's and then feeling unwell.
Yeah.
The next day, even with my beautiful young body able to
You were an Adonis, Tom.
to purge toxins like nobody's business. Within seconds, toxins would just be exuded out of my body.
Papa John's is bad food. It was founded by a terrible man, and you should steer clear. But Shaq is on the board now, so maybe things will turn around.
You better be careful Shaq doesn't smash the board, the backboard.
Oh, yeah.
He's been known to do it before.
Yeah. Shatters it.
Yeah. Fuck, that's the word I was looking for.
Yeah, our brains aren't working great.
All right, we'll see you next week.
That was a HeadGum podcast.